Okay, a third basic for peekaboo martial boxing is just some more basic body movement. We'll talk briefly about the slip, the duck, and the shift. Okay, and everybody is familiar with the slip from peekaboo boxing. And, you know, Mike Tyson was very good at it. You cover up, and you're moving your head out of the way. So punches are coming, and I'm slipping them, and I turn far enough that the punch is just going over my shoulder, right over my shoulder this way. And so Tyson would walk up on somebody just pivoting back and forth, and they didn't really know where he was coming from. He was just coming in. Okay, I don't have a lot of room to move here, stay in the frame. But we'll do a video on footwork later. This is just to give you the idea of some of these basic boxing moves. And so again, along with the slip was the duck. So punch could be coming at me, I duck just far enough so it goes over, or I slip to one side, goes over this shoulder, or I slip to this side, goes over this shoulder. Now, the important thing here is that it's not just a head movement. It's not just a movement from here up, head and shoulders, right? Like you see some people doing. They're standing almost straight up and down, and they're going like this. That's not it. It's from the waist up, so that when my head goes to the right, my hips go to the left. When my head goes to the left, my hips go to the right. And so I'm actually throwing my hips a little bit. So if I want to slip to the left, I throw my hips a little to the right. And that gives me a much faster, crisper movement, and it's going to let me do the shift. Okay? But again, it's like this. It's not just a head movement, right? I'm moving from the hips to move my head. I throw my hips that way to move my head. And it doesn't have to be a big movement, so it can still be fast, even though I'm moving my hips like this. But the important thing is to involve the hips. Now, one of the ways you develop this is with the slip bag, which was supposedly invented by Customato. The slip bag was like, imagine a speed bag that's heavy, not just an air bladder, hanging from a rope, suspended from the ceiling, and hanging freely, right? So it's heavy. And then you push that bag out, you get it swinging towards you back and forth, and you stand right where that thing would smack you right in the face on its middle of its swing. You get it swinging, and then you slip. Slip it as it goes past. I can slip this way and let it come forward. I can slip again, or I can be really quick. It's coming at me, and I slip 3 times before it swings back. There's various ways to do it. And then you start adding footwork. You slip the bag, and then you turn, and you hit it. There's just a lot of cool things you can do with a slip bag that people don't often think about. So let's get to the shift. That's one of the things that Mike Tyson was known for. It's one of the things that kind of makes the peekaboo boxing a bit unique, is that when I do my slip, I'm moving my hips. Now I've loaded this side, right? I've loaded my right hip. Punch is coming, I've slipped it, I've loaded this right hip. Now the shift comes when I use this load to throw my hips back the other direction and actually spring across, right? So what I'm doing, I'm trying to spring straight across, not a up and down motion, but I'm here, I've slipped, and I shift, right? Back and forth, and I shift. And that allows me to be standing in front of the guy, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm over here on this 45-degree angle, slamming him in the ribs. Mike Tyson would stand right in front of somebody, he'd be covering up all these blows, trading blows, and then they think he's in front of them, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's over at the side, hitting them, right? And that's the shift. So again, I can load the rear, the front hip, and then do my shift where I keep the same side forward, right? Load, shift. Can't do it as well when I try to do it slow. You got to be crisp. Or I could have slipped this direction and loaded the rear hip. So now when I do the shift, I've changed my lead. That's why you've got to be ambidextrous. Okay? And later on when we're talking about footwork, I'll go over various drills with the shift and shifting, you know, to position yourself on the bag, one side to the other. But you can see how I can go from square on. I can load this hip, shift so I'm 45 degrees this way, or I can load this hip and shift so I'm on the 45-degree line this way. Now the other thing about this, when I've done my slip I've loaded this hip. So I've said I can shift that direction because I throw my hip and my weight that way. Don't do this. I saw this on somebody's instructional video on YouTube. And knowing biomechanics, I looked at that and said, what the hell are they doing? Had the person doing this, throwing that hip out, and then pushing off with this leg and leaping across. That's not it. If you watch Tyson, he was nice and tight, and it was a crisp motion. He didn't move a lot of space, just enough to change the angle and to go from being right in front of the guy to being over at the guy's side. That's the shift. Very important. But what I was about to say, I've loaded this hip. Now I can also push off with this foot, do a shuffle step that way. So I could have done this and then pushed off and came over here. Okay? Or I can load this way, push off with my foot, and spring over here. But see, it's a little different. It's more like a step, a shuffle step with a bit of a spring, where this one is more like I'm leaping across. There's the difference between the shift and just the stepping aside. But you can see how it would confuse somebody because I'm slipping back and forth. I'm here, okay? Am I going to go that direction? Or am I going to go that direction? My opponent has no idea. Right? I'm here. I could go here. Oh. Or I could be here and I could go here. Okay? That's the value of the slip, using the hips, and then using those hips to do this shift. Okay?